Hi, my name is Jerry Streets. I'm the senior pastor of the Dixwell Avenue Congregational United Church of Christ. Thanks to all of you for joining us in this tercentennial celebration, 200 years plus two since the founding of Dixwell Church in New Haven in 1820. During those years, this congregation and its members and friends have been involved with what scholar Manny Marble used to talk about as renewal and transformation, fighting for racial and social justice. I first came to Dixwell Church as a student at Yale Divinity School, along with my wife and family in 1972. I later became an intern here under the late Reverend Dr. Edwin R. Edmonds. And 10 years after that, my wife, who was also a Yale Divinity School graduate, was an intern here. Coming back now to serve as pastor is a full circle from those early days in 1972 till now. And so thank you for joining us in this celebration. Be with us as we continue our journey to fight for social justice, to help human beings to flourish not only here in New Haven, but around the world. God bless.
I was born in the church, and my family has been here over 100 years.
I've been a member of Dixwell for 51 years.
70 years. I joined Dixwell in 1952, June of 1952.
My whole life, because my parents both were members here, and some other relatives.
I guess since both my grandparents were longtime members of this church, I've been a member here since I was basically born.
I've been a member at Dixwell for 49 years.
More than 50 years.
I've been a member at Dixwell for 42 years.
Since 1969, 15 years old when I started.
I was christened in Dixwell Church 92 years ago.
I've been a member of Dixwell for 48 years. I came in 1974, really Christmas of 1973. But we came back in January of 1974, and my late wife announced to me and to the congregation on the Sunday that we came back that we were joining church. And for me, it was a shock. I think our first argument, but it has been one of the great treasures of my life.
My name's Cheryl Riley Ray. My family connection was through my husband, Harold, who has passed away, Harold Sr. His family, the Stubbs, the Freemans, and the Rileys were members of Dixwell throughout their whole lives. And I never knew Dixwell existed because I lived in Meriden, and when we moved to the New Haven area, instead of going back and forth to church, I decided to join his church.
Well, in 1973, my husband was offered a job, and of course, we came to New Haven, Connecticut. And I did feel like a pioneer because I'd never really been to the East, and that's so far away from New Orleans, Louisiana, until I just didn't know how I would make out here. But after 49 years, I found this to be my wonderful home, my beautiful church, and my lovely family away from home.
I lived in this neighborhood. I lived on the corner of Dixwell and Admiral Street for years. I lived on Charles Street, right around the corner.
My grandmother, Elsie Mae Wormley, was a member here when we were kids. And then my mother started bringing us when we got a little bit older. So I've been here since I was knee-high, and always here at Dixwell.
It's exciting that we've been involved in the church for over 120 years, if not more. My great uncle, godfather, Albert Singleton, is on the plaque as you enter the back door as a World War II veteran. It's just awesome. I mean, I feel when I'm here that I'm home, and that I can feel my ancestors all around me.
My family relocated from Winston-Salem, North Carolina to New Haven. Because my family's relationship with then Pastor Reverend Edmonds, who was a notable civil rights leader educator in this community, but more importantly, to my family, he was a dear friend. The Dixwell Church really became my social network in Haven. My friendships, my first friendships, relationships with folks my age, teenagers, were here at this church.
Where this church is standing now, I live right down the street. It's called Gregory Street. And my mom thought that I and my siblings should be going to Sunday school. And she had a friend, his name was Ernest Saunders, and they mentioned Dixwell, which was at 100 Dixwell Avenue, right down the street from here. And we walked to Sunday school, and hence that's when I joined.
A classmate of mine at the University of Connecticut, Ronald Lemire, family was here at Dixwell. And Ron and I would often be the only ones in church on Sunday morning on campus. And he always said to me, Joy, if you settle in the New Haven area, you gotta go to Dixwell.
My name's Kayla Jackson. I'm 14. My earliest memories is definitely going to Sunday school with my late Uncle John and going downstairs to the basement and watching movies about Jesus Christ and eating snacks and stuff.
Hi, I'm Amanda Simpson, and I am 19 years old. Being in this church, I've always sung in the choirs, I've always read, and given opportunities to perform my talents here, such as piano. So Dixwell has really nurtured me in that aspect of being a member.
My fond memory is always fellowship, where we get to meet with each other, to talk to each other, to share good news with each other. And the best thing about the fellowship, it brings you closer together.
I remember the male chorus that used to sing here. I remember the choir concerts and piano and organ concerts that have been held here. I remember bringing my children, all three of them, to the Creative Arts Center, where they did dancing and they did instrumental music and they did art and they did theater. And I remember the people that I've been engaged with here, who were true Christians. Those are my memories.
For me, this was always a place of peace. So whenever I come here, I know that I am in the presence of God.
My fondest memory of Dixwell is not only its members, but Reverend Edmonds would not mind children crying in church. He says, when you hear children crying, the church is growing. And one day my little 18-month-old was kind of fussy. So I brought him downstairs and brought him back up a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes later, he was sound asleep. And I had the first thing, everybody looked at me, and the first thing I said was, honestly, I didn't spank him, he was just tired. And they started laughing.
Some churches, they don't want to hear babies crying. In Dixwell, we welcome babies crying because that's new life. And that new life means that there is growth that's going to happen. I think that when we look at Mrs. Sharon Esdale and what she does with our youth group and with our youth ensemble, having children perform and show their talents. It's the old school. As I was growing up as a child, it was through the church that I learned about public speaking.
What about when it's Youth Sundays? You guys are responsible for leading the church, and you, just like the adults do. What does it feel like to get up and read in front of the church?
When I did it the first time, I was like so nervous. Then when I did it the second time, I was not nervous.
It's so exciting because you're reading in front of the church.
I feel like I've done it 100 times, and it's pretty easy when you get back. Or if you're nervous, you can do it again and do it again when you're not nervous.
You can keep on trying. If you don't like it, try it again to see if it changes.
What I'm most proud of is that we really value education, even in the lower grades of school, and to be helpful and thoughtful of your neighbors and your families, and not to forget where you came from, not to forget that.
Until you come into the church, you don't know what it's like. A lot of people don't even know it's a church building. You come in here, it's a lot quieter than going to, say, like a Pentecostal or Baptist church. It's very low key, but I happen to enjoy it.
Our church was at 100 Dixwell Avenue. And next door to us at that time, the Dixwell Community House was at 98. And our church donated that land to the community house. And so we always stayed together. When we moved to this facility and built it, the community house built theirs right behind. And now they're like where we used to be. So we had quite a relationship with the Dixwell Community House.
The old site at 100 Dixwell Avenue, that was part of the Underground Railroad. We used to hide in there and play as kids. And it was a great thing, but a lot of kids didn't realize that. A lot of people didn't know that when they came over here.
The day we walked from 100 Dixwell Avenue down here to 217, that was a glorious day. It was a proud day for everyone.
To be a Dixwell member means that I have a connection with a wonderful church that has a wonderful history. A history that we can all be proud of. A history that has brought us this far. We're standing on the shoulders of some wonderful individuals who made sacrifices for us to be here today.
What it means to me to be a Dixwell member is to be part of the civil rights movement, to be part of an institution that has fought for civil rights for many years, and that's tantamount in my opinion. Without institutions like this, we'll forget about where the movement was rooted. If we didn't know where the wheel came from, we wouldn't have the wheel, or we wouldn't use the wheel. And this type of wheel here is vital.
I think it's important that each generation understand and appreciate the legacy that's left us and how we need to build on that. There's still much work to be done.
The problems of the past are the problems of the future, because we haven't really achieved quite what the people were fighting for then. And until these things are fixed and goals are achieved, there'll be the issues of the future. So Dixwell is needed. Its role is important to become leaders and people who can facilitate and help to coordinate efforts to tackle these issues in the future, because they will be society's issues.
It's always been important for our youth to know their history, to know that Black people, ever since they got to America, have had to struggle and persevere. And that's been the strength of the Black church, that even in hard times, there's always been hope and encouragement and a belief in God that God will be here for us, but we have to persevere. And it's not over. We have to keep struggling and keep fighting for the next generation.
Here at Dixwell, you have to think about this illustrious history that we have. And it's nothing to, I know they say you can't live in the past, but the past will help you get to the future.
Dixwell has inspired me to look for the connections in school that I know will nourish me and help me to be the person that I have goals to be.
I thought the greatest impact to me was that we exist as a church, that we still exist. After 202 years, we still exist. And the fact that a white person and a Black group decided that Black people have the right to worship in freedom and in dignity is important. And it's important today. And that we all have, Black people, we all have the right to determine and define our destiny.
Vernon and I have really been blessed to be members of Dixwell Avenue Congregational United Church of Christ, a church where you will find love, where you will be welcomed.